I always do this. I always forget to take everything. every time I do a live stream, I forget to take the overlay off. I forget to take myself off mute. Oh, it's been a minute. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Welcome to Red Lipstick Vibe, where the vibe is always positive. How's everybody doing on today? I know it's a Saturday and everybody's busy, but I thank you guys for coming through. I seen your She Said in the chat. Hey, She Said. Today is a very special thing. I wanted to do this for a minute. One of the things I always noticed, I'm going into groups, into autism groups and things like that, or even just like in the public or in the media, it's always the mothers that's out in the front. And we really rarely hear from the dads. So I am so pleased to have, I was supposed to have three, but well, look, God knows who's supposed to be up here. I have one dad here with me today. We're going to talk about some things from a dad perspective. And I want everybody to give a big hand clap and a finger snap for Tony being in the house tonight. Hi, Tony.
Hello. How's everybody doing?
Good. So let's get started. I'm going to give you the floor. You can introduce yourself and talk about your journey in with your son in autism. You can start from the beginning, in the middle, in the end. I don't care. This is your time. So everybody say hello to Tony for me.
It's been an interesting ride, that's for sure. And a lot has to do with my health through the thing, but we'll cover that a little bit. We'll talk about mainly with Calvin. as this journey started, I was working full time. I used to be a firefighter paramedic, um, and I'd work sometimes 24, 48 hours in a row, do different things. Sometimes work day shift. And him and his sister were always two peas in a pod. They're 368 days apart, both August birthdays,
Oh wow.
and they're homeschooled, so they were always together. Everything was always good. He did a lot of other stuff.
Hmm.
He's a smart kid, and then probably around 9, 10, 11, he started a bit of a divergence with his little things, and environment became a big deal as far as sounds and things being loud.
Hmm.
um, and it started to tweak a little bit, and then it's was getting him the help he needed, going through the diagnosis process, and that's a whole story in itself. It took several years for us to get the right people to give him the right diagnosis, and
Hmm.
the doctor eventually gave him that diagnosis. You and I had talked about it before the stream. Literally in 15 minutes, was like, oh, of course.
Right.
After fighting other doctors for years,
Hmm.
and that was a Social Security doctor. Um, and it just is what it is sometimes, and it's very frustrating, and it's the hardest on the parents. I can't. I understand how you feel, because as a mom, it's very hard on you. Same
Right.
with my wife.
Hmm.
And as a dad, it's very hard on you, because in some ways you feel anything you had thought about beforehand with your son has changed. And
Correct.
it's not changed for the worse. It's not bad. It's just different. And it takes a while to wrap
Hmm.
your head around.
Hmm.
It takes a while to do those things. And then you add siblings into the mix. I didn't mention they have a younger sister. The funny part about the three of them is all the years apart they are, their birthdays are within 8 days.
Oh wow.
Um, Alyssa is 6 right now, so 14, 13, and 6.
Mm.
And, she's been quite the blessing and sort of helped us, as we were going through his journey, because it gave us something else to focus on instead of getting too wrapped up in it. Because I
Hmm.
think that's something you certainly can vouch for. That as you go through this journey, you need to take time for yourself.
Yes. Hmm.
So you don't get sucked in, you don't get too wrapped up in it, and you have to chase some of those negative thoughts away and pamper or take care of yourself, and remember that this is a choice, and this is where we are. You
Hmm.
have to embrace it. Otherwise,
Right.
you're just gonna be miserable.
Hmm.
And that was the hardest part for me, because I went through that at the same time as going through being diagnosed with MS. So, in addition to figuring out my son, I had to figure out myself, and that
Right.
made it a lot more challenging.
Hmm.
Um, Seeing how the world reacts to the different ticks of somebody who, Calvin's, you can, in a quick meet and greet, you can go a little bit of time, you can go quite a bit of time, and you'll never know. But all of a
Hmm.
sudden, you open up that book, or something lets a tick come out, or any of that stuff,
Hmm.
and it becomes, I don't want to say an issue, but it becomes a focus point. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, a lot of his peers are not the right age to handle that well. And sometimes they like to poke fun, and, you know, in a simple sense, they're just being kids.
Hmm.
But sometimes they don't know how to appropriately deal with somebody who's a little different,
Right. Yeah.
and Kevin followed through a lot of things where he wasn't always age appropriate with his peers. So playing in league sports and some of that stuff became issues, because they were all about certain things and he wasn't there yet. He hadn't, like, even where he is right now, he's 13, he'll be 14 a little bit, and he hasn't crested that puberty tide. He has no interest in girls or anything like that. They
Yeah.
still all have cooties, they're still gross. And he'd almost rather play with his 6-year-old sister
Right.
and his 14-year-old sister, because she's going 100 miles an hour all the time.
Hmm.
And she wants to bigger and better and keep cruising along, and
Right.
he just likes to play.
Hmm.
So it just creates some of those challenges, and especially in the teenage years.
Yeah. I trust me. I understand. My 21. He's 21. So yeah, I've been
Yep.
through. Let's start with a couple of questions. So, I understand that your son was diagnosed late. Um, as we say in the community, he had a late diagnosis. Um,
Hmm.
could you talk a little bit more about that? When did you notice that something was amiss, like that something was wrong?
Well, it was a lot more my wife than me,
Mhm.
because that was the difference prior to me work when I worked. It was
Okay.
always fun time when dad was home because I was gone enough.
Mhm.
Um, because there were like a lot of times, I worked as a firefighter, so I wasn't home that whole 24-hour period. So I'd go to work and then come home the next day.
Mhm.
So Carrie picked up on it a lot quicker than I did because it
Okay.
was always fun time when dad was home, is how it
Right.
was. But then we started noticing minor differences in behavior and obstinance. And, some of that takes a while to figure out. Is this something here or is this just he doesn't want
Mm,
to do the work? Because like that's still a constant issue is schoolwork, and
right.
sometimes figuring out. And thankfully, Kevin's a pretty smart kid, so it's usually not too hard,
Mhm.
but it's getting them to cross that bridge. Same thing, with like even years ago, learning to read and that stuff. It
Mhm.
doesn't always want to put the effort in,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and sometimes he uses, he's aware and he knows, but he uses that as a weapon. Like, I'm
Mm,
just gonna lay in bed today. No,
yeah.
no, buddy. It's, and I don't know where you are. I'm in southeastern Wisconsin, about 40 miles out of Milwaukee. But today is the
Mhm.
first 70-degree day of the year. So,
Yeah, I saw that you guys are
so
finally getting some warm weather.
like with him, he was sort of told earlier today, he's like, "Cool, what are we gonna do today?" I don't know. You're gonna spend the day outside. It's been winter for 5 months. It's now
Right. Yeah.
spring. It's gonna be warm, and there might be some rain in that later. But
Hmm.
sometimes it's reframing his mental space because he puts himself in a space.
Yeah, they do.
But sometimes you need to take him out of that because, you know, like, no, it's not time to do that. Or no, it's time to do schoolwork. Or no, it's just, I don't really care what you do, but you need to go outside and get some fresh air.
Right.
Sometimes those simple things are hard,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Exactly.
Same with
Yeah.
the end of night, the movie's over or it's time to shut the TV off. And
Hmm.
uh, he struggles with the fun ending sometimes,
I
and
think they all
those,
do. They all do.
what's that? Yeah,
I
no, I
think
know.
they all do.
Well, and
Yeah.
that led to like one of the, as a parent, you understand, and there's so many frustrations,
Hmm.
and Calvin was on um a Lego team that they competed and they went to one of the national competitions and I think they finished in third or whatever.
Hmm.
But then the next year he wasn't. Calvin was too many issues was sort of the how it
Oh.
was brought to us from the other parents, and he
Mm-hmm.
didn't always do everything on time, or he was a little different for lack of better words. And and that's frustrating because it's just one of those times that shows through that other people just didn't have the patience because he's a
Exactly.
little different. And he's not that drastically different because I don't know how your son is, but like when Calvin goes into some of his temper tantrums, it's just easier to let them self-resolve unless they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Give him a few minutes, give him some time
Yeah.
to collect himself, and he usually will reappear. And that's one thing we had to work on a lot
Mm-hmm.
was the reappearance.
The
You
reappearance.
know,
Okay.
not climbing, because as somebody who has a disease, that hole is vicious, and I can't imagine what because I got to imagine in some ways with autism is very similar what I deal with, and just referencing when your brain doesn't work the way you want it to, I can't imagine how frustrating that is.
Right.
And that's got to be, I see that with him. I see in his mind he's thinking certain ways, but his body just wants to do other stuff. Or, that's another thing now with puberty and growing up and other stuff, the appropriateness of, no, your hands don't always belong in your pants. You're growing
Right.
up, you're being a,
Right.
oh, hang on a second, a bigger kid, and these things matter more.
Right. Right.
And that's, one thing that's nice is my wife is a director for the 8 local Girl Scout chapters, and
Okay.
she runs the camp.
Mm-hmm.
So because Calvin has a disability, he's allowed to go to camp till he's 18.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
otherwise, they cut the boys off at 13.
Oh wow. Okay.
They
That's
don't
yeah.
want the boys at the girls' camp. Well, hormones, that kind of stuff, and I get it. That's Girl Scouts of America rules.
Mm-hmm.
But because Calvin has his thing, and he'll be able to still go, which is nice because that's a good environment for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's mostly with the boys. There's not a lot of boys there, but it's peaceful, it's quiet, it's not forced. There's no expectation of performance like intramural sports or different stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's outside, and he can do
Right.
that stuff, and he's able to be independent, and that's been a good thing. And it's nice he's going to be able to keep going because he enjoys it. And it's finding that little stuff that they enjoy sometimes that
Mm-hmm.
as long as it's not too deep of a rabbit hole. Like that's one of the things that
Right.
we're facing right now with electronics.
So I remember you were telling me that because I wanted to talk about it, the school. You said that he's being homeschooled. So how now did you take him out of? Was he always homeschooled, or did you take him out of regular school and then started homeschooling?
That
Or
was
was
our plan from the beginning,
okay?
but we wanted them to meet everybody.
Mm-hmm,
So Isabella my oldest went to kindergarten, Calvin went to 4K and kindergarten at the public school.
okay. Okay.
And then that just reinforced our decision.
Mm-hmm.
And it is what it is. You can pick out any different issues you want with schooling systems. I think one of the issues we have around here is it's a very urban professional area, I would say. So there's a lot of dual working parents. So a lot
Okay.
of the kids are raised by peers and siblings.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only issues we had. There's really good schools. The education is quality around here. But they picked up some stuff that we weren't thrilled with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the downside to schools because you ride the bus with everybody.
Right.
You're not with your peers.
Right. Yeah.
And that reinforced our decision, and it's been wonderful because that's one of the things a lot of people don't understand. Homeschooling's it's not like public school. They don't
Right.
need 7 hours a day.
Exactly.
Think of how much in between class time, lunch hours, all that other stuff is part of the school day.
Mm-hmm.
So you take all that out,
Yeah.
and it's worked a lot, and I think it's helped them grow a little bit because it's gotten them away from some of that negativity
Mm-hmm.
that you have in any peer environment.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's sports, it doesn't matter if it's competitive, it doesn't matter if it's a team thing. People unfortunately have a desire to not be nice sometimes, and
Right. Yeah.
Calvin has more of that fragile temperament, and that's hard to deal with when you're a teenager sometimes because that's teenagers, some of your first life lessons where, wow, everybody's different now. People aren't always happy-go-lucky.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, they bring different things to the table. And that was where a lot of the growing and that's certainly where it became more apparent and an issue, and kept us pushing to, get the diagnosis, get some other stuff, because it was obvious there was something else there. This wasn't
Right.
all Calvin choosing to be difficult. It wasn't, because the other thing about it is he's a relatively smart kid, but
Mm-hmm.
that's what happens sometimes because he gets into trouble with schooling and education
Mm-hmm.
because he doesn't always do the work. But
Mm-hmm.
like then now where he's at as a teenager, your work is so important, like in math. He can't figure out where he went wrong because he didn't do the work to see, like, oh, you forgot to carry the one.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah.
It's all little stuff like that now, and it's helping educate him, but it's a little more frustrating now because he's got some of that awareness that he brings that teenager into, and when he chooses to be done,
Mm-hmm.
it's not worth fighting because there's no progress coming soon.
Yeah.
It's always better to let him come back to that realm.
Mm-hmm.
And there are days he doesn't. There are days he's, you know, in his program, he doesn't abuse himself, but like he's not going to skip a meal. He always eats and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes he does it on his own terms, which is frustrating to the family. Like, oh, I already ate. I don't need to sit at the table for dinner.
Right. Yeah.
Little stuff like that. But, those are battles that on a daily basis are we fighting this one today?
Mm-hmm.
Because
So
a
I'm
lot of
sorry.
those.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So let's talk about you for a second. As the dad. So I know, when the baby's in the belly and you're like, oh yeah, I'm about to have me a boy. And you have all these hopes and dreams and things that you want to be able to do. And oh, he's gonna play football, basketball, how you guys are. So I did a show not too long ago, and I was discussing um, the stages of grief. And we were talking about how even getting a new diagnosis of autism, that parents, we go through the 7 stages of grief.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Denial. The first one is shock and disbelief, denial, anger, depression, bargaining, acceptance, and resolve to overcome. So when you learned of his diagnosis, could you talk about a little bit, if you're comfortable, of what you were feeling? Did you have did you go through any of those stages? Can you kind of talk about how you felt when you first found out?
We'll see if, given that story, by the time I find out, I was already at the anger stage
Mm.
because we knew.
Mhm.
One sec.
No problem.
We knew, but we had been fighting the doctors,
Mhm.
and it was so obvious at that point, that by the time we got the diagnosis, I was already in the anger stage. I had gone through some of the other 2 stages already, the shock and disbelief and figuring it out because, like, wow, all of a sudden you're hit with that. I only have 3, I only have 1 boy, and as a man, your boy is a lot.
Right. Right.
That's your little man. That's the next you.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to wrap your head around and embrace it and find the new path forward.
Uh-huh.
And so many of those terms and ideas are scary to people because it doesn't have to be that drastically different.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the a lot of what has to change is you and your perspective of how you look at it and approach it,
Mm-hmm.
because it takes different patience in different parts and different levels of understanding, and also that knowing when it's time to just leave everything as it is and revisit it, whether it's half hour, 1 hour, or the next day.
Right. Yeah.
There's just battles that aren't, Because that's one thing. I don't know how your son was, but like every now and then, Calvin will dig his heels in,
Mhm.
and it's on, and it's like, dude, I don't want to fight with you, but it's obvious you want to fight with me, and I don't understand. But
Oh,
your laughter shows me you get it. You understand it.
yeah,
You get
yeah.
it.
They
Because
can.
sometimes they do that.
You're
And,
right.
one of the things I think my MS has helped me understand is that
Mhm.
torture.
Mhm.
It is very torturous to have thoughts and then your body can't complete the process for whatever reason. And I
Mhm.
gotta imagine with some autism is very similar.
Yeah.
Because I know Calvin has the right idea sometimes, but the execution does not look like the right
I
idea.
put it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah,
Pretty right.
and it's so appropriate to like your the pins and like your shoes and that it's a very difficult puzzle,
Yeah.
and like difficult puzzles, close
Mhm.
doesn't work.
Exactly.
Close is just a wrong piece in a wrong spot that's going to cause other issues,
Exactly.
and you can't force it because that certainly doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
you know because when their heels are dug in, the sun's going to be red till tomorrow. But you know what I mean? It's some of those, they need a cycle to get their brain off of what they're stuck on.
Yeah.
And it's not always mom or dad that can be that interruption, that
Right.
change in thought.
Yeah, that's true. Like I was battling with my son for 2 days about getting his hair cut. So
Did you have hygiene issues?
actually, no. And that's one of the things I'm really blessed about. He likes to clean, not just the house or things, but he likes to clean himself. So no hygiene issues. He's pretty self sufficient. Like I never had to fuss at him to like you really need to make sure you wash yourself. You stink. But
See, that's some of
yeah.
what we're dealing with now.
Hmm.
Um, he doesn't like to be dirty or gross, but
Okay.
he it's that transition from
One thing to the other.
well, a few years ago you didn't need to shower that often. But all of
Hmm.
a sudden now you hit puberty and all of a sudden you got an odor, your clothes got an odor, and you need to clean it every so often. And 3, 4, 5 days isn't what we're talking about.
Right. Oh no.
And but like tomorrow. How about tomorrow? And then
Right.
tomorrow comes, it's like, how about the next
So
day?
he says tomorrow too. Yeah, my son be like, tomorrow? I'm like, no, not today.
It's one of his favorite words. Like even to the point, like you'll ask him to finish playing a game or something on his phone or whatever.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
sometimes he'll actually spit out tomorrow,
Hmm.
not because he didn't think the question through.
Right,
Like, tell
right.
me, did you finish up? Yeah, tomorrow.
You're right. Like I
No, you're not getting off your phone tomorrow.
so anything that would take Mr. Cable away from whatever he's doing right now, most likely is YouTube. Whatever he's doing right now, it's tomorrow. Can I do it tomorrow? I don't want to do it today. Can I do it tomorrow? Because I don't want to stop what I'm doing right now. So yeah, I get it. I get that part.
Well, and
So,
almost
go ahead.
one of the other things about that
Mm-hmm.
is technology has made part of that worse.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine what Calvin could have gotten away with before technology. And what I mean by that, now when his devices have the like family link and that, so
Yeah.
whenever he's doing stuff, I can see what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So he needs his stuff to do some of his schoolwork,
Mm-hmm.
like because there's apps and math stuff that we have. But it's like you go on there, it's like your math's not on YouTube. But I can tell that from
Right.
upstairs. I didn't have to go check on him. And,
Mm-hmm.
and for a while he's like, Dad, how do you always know what I'm doing?
Right. Right.
Because it's all part of the program, Calvin.
Right.
And,
Right. Yeah.
and I think their minds are, I don't want to say easily triggered, but easily drawn into certain
Mhm.
fun things,
Yes.
and did your son, as he went through puberty and that, did he have any issues with exposure to reality, like referencing movies? And what I mean by that is Calvin still is on younger movies than
Mhm.
his age.
Oh no. Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, and actually, he kind of transitioned as the older he got, and I guess his interest was different the older he's gotten. So when he was little, it was like little Einstein, the Mickey Mouse Club, you know what I mean? And it was like the little
Hmm.
the little movies, Curious George movies, and what is that one? Oh, he loves Mimo. It
Hmm.
was all about Mimo, you know what I mean? And the older he's gotten, then it was Independence Day.
Okay.
I have 5 copies of Independence Day on DVD. If anybody want to buy one, I have it. The original one. Because my son was obsessed with Independence Day. He knows every word. Okay. I'm starting to think that it's real aliens coming because he just fixated on that thing. Like he knew it. So and then so he started to like other things, so I think the older he's his interest, man, but he's more into music more than anything, so he's really
Okay.
not into movies, so it's music, so because he plays the piano, so it's all about the jazz and blues and stuff like
Nice.
that, so yeah, yeah.
That's See, we're at that age right now where there's so much different stuff that you can do learning through movies, but he
Yeah.
hasn't crested that corner yet. And that's where a little bit of the frustration is
Hmm.
because we as a family are struggling for family activities. Because if
uh,
you put the family on a board, you have up
you say,
here, down here, over here,
okay, okay,
so trying to get something that everybody enjoys,
right,
unless
right,
we're traveling or something else. And,
yeah,
let's face it, that's one of the harder things in this day and age is between doing things outside of the house has become more challenging, especially with 3 kids, because nothing is as affordable as it used to be.
exactly, yeah, yeah.
Especially food. You want to take them out quick to eat. It's not with
It's
three
not.
kids. It adds up quickly.
Right, because like I only had that one, and yeah, you have 3 little ones in tow, so yeah, that the price, yeah, definitely will go up. We're going outside, but I think that like nowadays, I'm actually going to do a live stream about the benefits of taking our kids outside, the benefits of them going outside. It does help them in their social cues, their actual communication skills, and things of that nature. So I think a lot of
Well,
times, I know, like with my son, I used to just take him to the park, and like in the park in New Orleans, they had like this nature opening, and all of the different ducks and all kinds of animals
nice.
would be over there, and he was just fascinated with it, and so it was like he loved to go to the park because it was like this magical place, all these beautiful looking trees and flowers and things like that, and so I try to tell parents to try to, even though we want to take them to the Chuck E. Cheese and the what's that thing where they jump around and fly off stuff, all
Oh,
that
like
other
the
stuff,
trampoline parks and that.
yeah, we want to take them to places like that, but I mean,
Well,
nowadays we have
that's
to look at the budget, but so
that's
finding
one thing
small
that's
things, yeah.
awesome
Mm-hmm.
about where we are, because we are on the edge. Um, if you go south or east, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to the metro area. So the further south and east of me you get, the more city it is. And Milwaukee's 40 miles away. So if you go 40 miles, you're in a big city.
Okay.
If you go north or west from here,
Mm-hmm.
you're in nowhere. You're in cornfields.
Oh
I
my
could
God.
take you 20 minutes from here and drop you off on the side of the road, and you would be so lost.
No, you guys
Because
are like what's that movie, The
but
Children
it's
of Corn?
but it's so nice because so many people in this day and age have forgotten.
Right,
Like I don't know how it was you when you were a kid, but I grew up with like sticks and outside,
Outside.
and we had
Exactly.
to find things to do.
Exactly.
We didn't have these devices, we didn't have other stuff. And I think a lot of parents nowadays, no matter your kid, no matter if they're on the spectrum or not, have
Mhm.
forgotten how important it is to remove the electronics,
Exactly.
let them explore a little bit in nature in whatever method you can.
Mhm.
If you live too urban, there's parks, there's other things, but
Mhm.
natural vitamin D from the sun and
Exactly.
being outside is huge. And it's big in development, as the kids are growing up. And I think it's huge for them
Mhm.
to just like you were talking about, just get that natural sunlight,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Did your child have vitamin D deficiency with his MS?
He doesn't
I'm
have.
sorry, with his autism?
No, no, he didn't have when he was diagnosed, but during him, well, actually, everybody in my family kind of got it when we were on lockdown, and
Okay.
so no sunlight, everybody was in the house, kind of thing. We all went very low in our vitamin D levels, so we all we had to take like supplements to kind of get it back
Mhm.
up. So yeah. Um, so now he's on a vitamin D supplements because both him and I were like non-existent D levels was in our system because we were like in the house, no sun, no nothing. And during this time, I was in Baltimore, so it's dreary and cloudy there. It's not like how it is in Louisiana where you can get some sun just by standing at the door. You know what I mean? So it would have been different if we was during the pandemic, we were here, but we were there, and yeah, it was totally different. And so, but when he was diagnosed, he had a whole blood panel workup and everything, and so that's what he wasn't vitamin D deficient. So no, that wasn't one of his things. So, but I'm quite sure now that a lot of kids are not going outside; they're stuck on these iPads and phones, and not only just kids with autism or any type of disability. I'm
Everybody.
thinking I'm hearing all of them are deficient in some type of vitamin or mineral because they're not
Mhm.
getting it, and we're not getting it in our food because the food is the food is not real food sometimes. So
And
yeah,
it's I'm a big cook, and we do a lot of stuff from scratch, but it's become more expensive to eat healthy
it
than it
is.
is to buy junk. And it's frustrating,
Yep.
because I don't want to buy the junk, but at
Right.
the same time, when you only have so many dollars, it only goes so far,
Yeah.
and that's one thing we've done a good job of. But the food prices have gotten out of control, and that's one thing with like Calvin with
Hmm.
his autism. Sometimes that's another cycle that has to get broken. He got
Hmm.
hooked on peanut butter sandwiches,
Okay.
but to the point he was eating. And when I say a peanut butter sandwich,
Right.
we buy decent bread. It's not like it's wonder, but he'd
Yeah.
have like a half inch of peanut butter, and he'd have 3 a day, and that would be his whole meal. It's like, all right, dude, you got to eat some. We always have fruits and veggies, and it's like you got to like have
All right.
something in it.
Oh look, okay. So when Mr. Kato was first diagnosed, he had this thing, with the chicken nuggets. It was always the chicken nuggets. So chicken nuggets thing was okay. Chicken nuggets, chicken fingers, okay. But I don't know where he got this from, but it probably was me because I was all. But he only wanted a certain type of cheese. It had to be Romont stone aged white cheddar cheese. And I could only get it from this expensive crazy store. But that's the that's the- so I was like, look, little boy, you need to look. This cheese is like $10, little boy. But during that time, I wanted him to eat. So it's like I would have to have a budget for his cheese and chicken. So trust me, I understand.
We literally about had a line item in our budget for peanut butter because
Right?
for a little while, we have a Costco. We buy those two huge tubs of Skippy, and you just watch it
Go
gone.
down. Yeah.
God, like, guess I don't get a peanut butter sandwich today.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'd say. Because by the time I go to get to it, he'd be through 2 containers already. It'd be like, wow.
Yeah. Like now,
But,
so he fixes his own lunch, breakfast, and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
when he goes to get the peanut butter, so I have to watch it because you made me laugh when you said about that thing. Because when Mr. Caleb makes his sandwiches, the peanut and he have like a little drop of jelly, but the peanut butter be like this. I'm like, look, like I know your mouth is tired trying to eat that. So I understand. So
peanut butter is its own food group to him.
Exactly, yes.
It's
Oh my goodness. I think during so he grew over time. I've learned how to introduce him to new foods. So the more I introduce him to new things, so his palate is he'll eat almost anything now. So the only thing I have to work with him on is vegetables. It's not that he won't eat vegetables, but he won't eat vegetables cooked. He only likes them raw.
See, Calvin's got the other side where there's times you'll sit down at dinner.
Understand what we going through up here, y'all.
Right. Well, he'll be like, "Well, I'm not going to eat this." Kevin, you ate it last night. You enjoyed it. You said it was really good. Yeah, well, not today. So even meals become a challenging thing, and the other thing that we run into, having his older sister being a year apart, they grew up as such two peas in a pod. So I don't think anybody can take the digs they take on each other. If that makes sense to you, because they're siblings. Did you have any siblings?
I have two brothers. One younger.
Well, you know how it goes with your brothers. There's a whole level there that nobody can get involved in. That's between you three.
Right. Exactly.
That's how those two get sometimes. And mom and dad just have to look at them sideways sometimes, like we're sitting at the dinner table. Not now. You two can go outside in the yard and fight all you want when dinner's
right. Exactly. That's very true. Oh, I think.
Yeah, but sometimes she trips his ticks, and that's frustrating. Because he goes into the shutdown mode that's common with people on the spectrum.
Right.
And a lot of it is. I feel almost I have some of it too. And what I mean by that is at some point with him, you can overstimulate him, between light, sound, all this other stuff. And especially with people talking from 8 different directions. And I see where that wears on him unless he's able to participate. If he's able to run around the gym and scream, he doesn't care.
Right.
But if he has to be peaceful and everybody else is being loud, it
gets
wears on.
Okay. I think I see Steve in the chat, and I just dropped the link for him, so he may come up. Let's talk about discipline. So I have a video that I want us to look at, and then we're going to discuss it.
That's a whole nother avenue of
I know. Oh, one thing I can say, I'm grateful in that area. I'm very, very grateful in that area. So let's watch the video and see. Let's see. You know what? Okay. Well, I have two. Let's watch this one first.
This is where he's put his head through the wall, and this is where he stood and kicked it. He's 6'2" and he weighs 252 pounds. He can go through this house and just wipe everything out probably in 10 minutes. I've had him turn furniture over. You see all the windows and stuff. The air conditioner back in the bedroom, he'll sit and punch that till it's in pieces. in other words, if it breaks anymore, it's kind of like it's material. It can be replaced. I don't even let it bother me. But the destruction is just unbelievable. What are you so mad about?
I have to go. Why, those
What are you so mad about?
The Miser brothers.
Calm down. Look, you got Santa Claus is coming to town.
Of all the fool things for them to do.
You got Santa Claus is coming to town. Don't do that. Owie. 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 He's part of the family, and you hate to give up on your child as a lost cause. But I've come to the conclusion now that the best thing would be to place him somewhere where they can control him and they're not going to hurt him. I'm afraid, though, if I do leave him at home, it'll be like that man that they took to one of those group homes or centers last weekend that got out of control and they tased him and he died of a heart attack. Yeah, you understand what's going through my head, why I'm not opposed to taking him and placing him somewhere, because this can't go on and other people cannot control him like me.
If you ask me, still in serious trouble.
What's the problem, officer?
What's the problem? I'll tell you what the problem is. Driving.
Oh, owie.
What do you call that thing anyway?
You watch your movie?
Vixen. And wearing funny looking.
Maybe they look like babies.
Hold on one second. I think I see Steven in the back. Hold on. Can you wait for me, Steven? I'm Steve. I can't see you. Oh, he's left. Oh, wait, there he is. I can't see your face, darling. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Okay. There you go.
Where's my camera? I don't do this very often, so.
Oh, no, you could just stay right there. You good. Welcome, Steve, to the panel. I saw you had some trouble getting in the first time.
Yeah, I'm a retired software engineer, and I can't navigate around social media. What the heck?
Oh, wow. Okay, so what did you think about the clip, Tony?
It's, there's a few things I picked up on. Certainly that's one thing that we've come into now, and what I mean by that is Calvin's like 5'5" and getting close to 200. He's a big boy, and he's bigger than his mom is. And the thing that we see issues with sometimes is with his little sister, with her being only 6. Mm-hmm. Sometimes he overestimates his force and abilities with her, and that's, thankfully Calvin doesn't self-harm, because that would be really hard to watch. Yeah. But I've seen him do other things like that, and I've seen him where he doesn't always understand his strength and abilities now.
Right. Yeah.
And that's a big thing to wrap your head around. As same as some of that behavior with what you already have going on in your head. Yeah. And I've certainly seen that with his younger sister. Sometimes, he'll grab her hand and drag her along, and it's just not
right.
what you hope he'd treat his little sister like. But he's somewhat receptive. But it's the same as some of the other stuff we talked about. Is you got to know if he's receptive or not, because there's sometimes he's got his curtains closed and nothing gets in.
Yeah. Now with Mr. Caleb, he has the only time he's shown any type of aggression or kind of rough with anybody is when he started going through puberty. And so those hormones, I don't know. I can't explain it for you guys, but the doctor explained like the aggression or something was, he was trying to figure that out. And
testosterone.
Yeah, so one of the teachers was telling him something and he did not like it, and so he grabbed her by the neck
Ooh.
and
Ooh.
proceeded. So yeah.
Well, that's the other issue at this age. There's
Yeah.
a lack of understanding of repercussions in real world stuff.
Right.
You
And
know,
so
same with Calvin putting her hands on girls a certain way. It's like, dude, you gotta understand the world is not going to be concerned what you have to say why you did that. They're going to be, that's not okay. You just can't do that. But trying to get somebody like Calvin to understand that,
yeah.
especially anything to do with the opposite sex.
And so like
But
during that time we had to like, sit him down trying to teach him and show him like, you can't, you can't get mad and choke people. You know what I mean? Because like, my son is 6'3", almost 300 pounds. So he's always been a big boy.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, and very, very superhuman strong, literally. So so we had to, talk to him. But he really never had any. How can I say, like, he didn't know how to be gentle, so to speak. That was like the only instances that I had that he had, with that type of behavior. So according with the video, I'm very grateful that my son didn't have those type of behavior issues, like, harming themselves, putting holes in the wall, destroying things, you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
See, we've had some destruction of property and stuff like that. That of all ends, we've had some stuff that was destroyed that was very expensive. It was a lack of understanding what they did. And all of it was learning things, and whether or not I set him up for failure or not, it is what it is, and I might have upset him by the way I handled stuff, but it's that balance, and it's very tough.
Yeah.
Because they don't think anywhere near the same way we do.
Right.
Their minds are much different, and it's hard to figure out where they're coming from sometimes.
Steve, are you there?
Yeah. Can you see me? I keep cutting out.
No, your camera's off. But I hear you though. Yeah.
Where's the camera? I don't know this.
Steve, how you gonna be a software engineer? You don't know how to use the camera.
I'm a legacy programmer, mainframe. I'm one of the OGs of the gray hair that kept the big machines alive for so long.
They don't work like they used to.
Right.
All I know is Facebook needs to be rewritten. It's a piece of junk. I just got on it. I've only been on for a month, and it's a piece of garbage. But anyway, I don't know.
So Steve, tell us a little bit about your journey with your you have a son or a daughter?
3 boys.
3 boys. Can you talk a little bit about your journey? And kind of we can hear you.
Okay.
Until you get your camera together, you can introduce yourself and tell us about your kids with
If I find the camera, I'll probably disconnect. So we're gonna just stick with this, I guess.
Okay.
He's our firstborn. He's 33 right now. He's been with us forever. He always will be. He's nonverbal, not really potty trained. It's nice. I've been here for a half an hour trying to find my way in and hearing Tony's story. And our kids are alike in certain aspects, but they're like snowflakes. He's not close to my son's autism. My son will never have a job. My son will never. He never went to the prom. He's not going to have a date. He's, it's a different version of autism. And what I found out come out here on the social media is they got all these new neuro something or other about typical, and they've got levels and stuff of autism. And when my son was diagnosed, it was 1995. He was a late bloomer, late walker, and started spinning his little toys on his walker, and to the point where he was stimming. We didn't realize it because he's our firstborn, and we didn't. You don't get an owner's manual. So our parents, both sets, kind of knew something was wrong, and we didn't really pick up on it. And the denial part, I was a hard sell on that. My wife was more acceptance, but I was a hard sell. I'm the dad. I got to protect it. I got to fix everything, and I couldn't fix this. And this has eaten me up for many years, and it's an evil thing. So I took to writing, and writing all my stuff that builds up that I can't carry around anymore. And the first song I wrote was about my son. But anyway, enough about that. But he's a gentle giant. He's 5'10", maybe 200. He's got my belly, so we got to get him on a diet. We got to walk more. But he's a sweet guy. He's got some triggers like motorcycles. He'll not freak out, but he does this thing we call mush. He just and he'll put his hands against his teeth. And he does have calluses on his hands. At night he chews his hands. We tried everything to put gloves on, put tape on his hands. And it's kind of a cruel thing, but we wake up in the morning and the part of the glove's missing, but he didn't eat it. We find the rest of it, he chewed it off, but that's just a stim thing for him while he sleeps. But he's everywhere we go, he's a rock star. He could be the mayor of town. I grew up in a small town. I'm in central New York, which is just like where Tony's from. We hunt deer. We love the outdoors. I graduated 48 people in my class. We have one traffic light, and this is New York State that nobody knows about. It's God's country. But he has two younger brothers. Brett is 2 years younger. Like we call him Rico. His name's Christopher. We call him Rico because Brett couldn't say Christopher. He called him Creaker, and on Creaker he got Rico. So he's tagged Rico. But, Brett was in the ovens, so to say, when we found out about Christopher. So I decided after that we really didn't want any more kids because I don't want to take a chance. And my wife wanted another one, so 7 years later she got her way, I guess. So the stork showed up, and I laid on the bed and I just laid on there for an hour and started sleeping. Wow. We just went through diapers, everything. But anyway, they're very protective of their brother. It changed them. My boys are 33, 31, and 24, and they are protectors of their brother, and it's awesome to see that. And they would do anything for him. I call them typical, but I guess you can't say that in chat groups because you get yelled at.
I think. Oops, he's laughing. Steve, you gotta get your camera together. I think when I think about my son, I think like that's one of the disadvantages that he had is because he didn't have siblings. I think siblings kind of really do help with the with the communication and social, social being social.
We learn so much from him. We watch and we learn, and he's got his favorite things. He loves his McDonald's French fries and chicken nuggets, and we spoil the crap out of him. And he'll be with us forever. We made that choice, and my wife and I have been married 35 years, and I think he's kind of kept us together because I've been faithful for 35 years, but I'm not a saint by any means, and I'll get. Autism as a dad puts you in places you don't want to go at times, and you question a lot of things. And I'm not going to cry. I already did that when I wrote my 3 songs, but I've got more estrogen in me than a 13-year-old girl right now, and I don't know where the hell it's coming from. I'm 58 years old, but it's just life's changed a little bit, and to see things. I'm semi-retired. I do construction now, so I work 20 hours a week, but I see life a little bit different now, and I watch, and we do a lot of things. I've got a tandem bicycle. We ride that under protest. He doesn't really, like to get on. We throw him on, put a helmet on. Come on, you're going, and we go for walks and things like that. We do his favorite things, but it's kind of limited. I mean, his girlfriend is Minnie Mouse. He loves his characters. Whenever we go to a baseball game. He loves sports because it's active action and stuff going on. But he does love his. If I gave him, he gets on my cell phone and he'll be on Barney or Winnie the Pooh or Sesame Street, and we have hit places like Philadelphia has a Sesame Place where the characters are there, but they have rides and stuff. But he just wants to go see the characters. Bert and Ernie. we got in Big Bird's Nest. We got pictures. And we go to Disney. And all we don't even go on rides. We just look for the characters. So we bought Mickey Mouse. We got the Easter Bunny. We've got Minnie Mouse costumes, and they pop up once in a while. And he doesn't know that we're in there. You know, he thinks that they're real people. And it's sweet to see the innocence. You know, but that's our son's autism. And at school, he went through a 12-1-1 autism program. Thanks to me, I don't want to get credit for it, but they built it in school.
Let's just wait a couple of seconds. He might pop back up.
Yeah, that's fine.
There he is.
Their own room at the school, and I did over 100 IEP meetings as a parent rep. Was requested a couple times. Ones I didn't want to go to, but you got to fight for everything you can. But our district was very what's the word I'm looking for? They were good to work with, and they took a lot of advice. But our resources are limited, not being around a city district where there's more to offer. You take what you can get, and I'll backtrack to early diagnosis. Back in '95, we didn't know what causes autism, and we were hot on the trail, but we didn't have internet then. We had flyers we get in the mail. We did signed up for things that we could find here and there, but his autism, we believe, if I was a betting man, which I am, that his is caused by a chromosomal translocation, which is genetically an abnormality when he was conceived. He had two chromosomes that split and joined the opposite. So you pair them up in pairs of 22 and you have an XY for the parents. And his 5 and 7 split and they join the opposite. And on the 7th chromosome, where his breakpoint is in the long arm of the Q region, is an autism gene. And it has to do with the language, and he's nonverbal. So it's a almost money in the bank, but it's almost we had ourselves convinced that was it, and the rarity of it, and we had our DNA checked as well, and neither one of us carry that abnormality or the balanced translocation. So he's considered a de novo, which is the first of his kind. So he go, well, we're going to give him genetic counseling, in case he wants to have kids later on. We just kind of looked at each other. I don't think that's going to happen. But he does love the ladies, though. Wherever we go out to lunch, he's not hesitant of walking up and putting his hand out. And he gets like a little slide, like a high five. He gets this little slide, and everybody knows he. And I go, he only hits on the pretty girls, which is all of them. So they like that. But that makes his day. Then he'll start laughing and start flirting with them. And sometimes you gotta say, Rico, play a little hard to get here. You're throwing it all in it.
Can't give it all away in the first comment.
Right. That's so cute. Yeah, my son is he likes the ladies. He'll go up to hi, my name is Kayla.
Beginning about what the adrenaline rush at night, the stranglehold you get. Dad might know what I'm talking about. The pressures of what can I do? What else is out there that I need to do to fix my kid or help my kid? Am I doing something wrong? You question yourself. But that eats you up. I mean, I'm 58. He's 30. He was diagnosed when he was 30. So I'm going to say all the 30 years it doesn't go away. So I lost a brother to suicide a year and a half ago. My wife went through breast cancer last year. We just put my mother-in-law in a home assisted living. She's got dementia, and there's just a lot going on. And I decided to write because either I was going to lose my friggin' mind, And I wrote the first song for my son, which I actually compiled the first version in 2001. And it was about me and my battle with my son's autism, and it's really powerful. But I sent that out. I got hooked up with a songwriter from South Africa out on it's a website. I don't know if I can say it, but it's a freelance. You put your work out there. They do resumes, web pages, jingles for ads, and they do songwriting from poetry. And he took it on in January and made a beautiful song out of it. And one thing I did hear you say is offending or he looked at one verse of it and the disease part you mentioned, Tony. There was a line in there that said, "Working hard to find a cure with many hours yet to endure." And he didn't know
Oh, that was getting good.
Well,
what part of it.
it'll be
I
good.
look at it and go, "Wow, thank you for opening my eyes." But in 2001, when I wrote it, it was considered a disease, and now it's just a puzzle. You know, it's baffling.
Right.
You work, you wing it. We've wung it the whole way through his life. I got a rock for a wife. She's my rock. My boys are very supportive, and it's just been it's been an okay ride. You know, it's been, for what I see people. There's always someone like that. The gentleman you showed
There he is.
me too, but we kind of been blessed with it. He's really mellow. He's a gentle giant, but we do have our outbreaks. Kids crying set him off. Motorcycles set him off. Idiots set him off. He can pick them out of the crowd, just like dads and moms can. And but I met up with that songwriter. He stood out. Without 15 people made an offer for my song, and he stood out. I looked at him. I got to go with this guy. I know nothing about him. He had a 5-star rating. So long story short, his wife is autistic, and he didn't know what he was writing a song about.
Oh, wow.
And we ended up changing the one verse in there, and then about halfway through he did this in 10 days. So about 5 days in, I called him up. It was stop everything. I said I got it all wrong, and then I wrote it about him and not me. And there's a couple pieces in there about me, but and since then I wrote 3 more in 20 minutes each. Crazy. I have no idea what I'm doing, but they're just coming out of my heart, and that's where I got the estrogen.
His estrogen. So
That was a comment to go out on.
So when he comes back, this is the question I want to ask you guys. What are some ways you bond with your sons? Because I know it's kind of difficult now, you know.
Oh, it's a struggle.
It's
Yeah.
just been we've been blessed with our son, because our other 2 left the nest, and we're always going to have one son. He may not be perfect, but he's our joy. He's a great kid, you know, and I wouldn't trade him for the world. He's a good kid.
So Steve, I was asking Tony, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Okay. The question's on the screen, just in case. So, what are some ways you bond with your autistic child? Because I know we talked about it earlier, Tony. We talked about it earlier, you know, that, you know, sometimes we have this idea, you know, we're going to play baseball together. We're going to, you know, throw the ball, you know, do this and that. We'll teach her how to do it, you know.
You're popping in and out. I didn't know how much you heard of my stuff, but
Yeah, we heard you. I just started to ask a question that's on the screen. Can you see the screen? It says, what are some ways you bond with your autistic child? So Tony, could you tell us some ways that now that you know that, you know, some things he's just not interested in, what are some other ways you bond with him?
Well, we found some common interests, and we do have some common interests. Like, he was always into Legos, and there's some other stuff. And, you know, it's that balance of finding stuff he's interested in, but also allowing him to use it correctly and not, you know, make a mess of it or turn it into another puzzle for, you know, using that term for exact reasons, you know, and that's some of what Legos have become, and they're, you know, sometimes everywhere. Like, you wonder how they get in the laundry or different stuff like that. But it's a very good creative outlet for him.
Mm-hmm. I had to put you on mute, Steve. All right, Steve, you ready? You want to answer the question?
oh, sorry.
You ready to answer the question? I think Steve got bad Wi-Fi. Yep, I think Steve got bad Wi-Fi.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why
He keep popping in and out.
Yeah. Like I said, we're rural.
Yeah, I can tell.
I hate this internet, man. It shouldn't be done on a mainframe.
So, Steve, could you tell me some of the ways you bond with your child? You know that some things he may not be interested in. So, what are some things you do with the bond with him? Some of the ways you bond with your child, you know that some things he may not be interested in. So, what are some things you do with the bond with him?
As much as he's autistic, he likes to wrestle, and I maul him. You know what I mean? We have our times before he goes to bed. We have a little routine where I tackle him and rough him up a little bit. He giggles and I bite him like I'm a lion, and just love him. I'll do football tackles with him, and I'll call it before he gets ready. I'll be walking around the house, and come up behind me, lay on me, and I'll walk around like a camel, like an animal with 4 legs, walking around the whole house. He's just a very loving kid.
All right, I'm gonna put you on mute because it's an echo. So, I have another video, and we're not gonna be too much longer because I don't, I know everybody's busy. It's a Saturday. I saw this video, and I want us to review it.
The father of this autistic boy just broke his silence and says that he's concerned about the well-being of his child. The son was featured in this video that went viral a couple of months ago, showing him being hyperfixated over some Applebee's and getting aggressive with his mother. The purpose of this video and the mom's page in general is to show her life as an autism parent, which does frequently show Cash having outbursts like this. And it's because the outbursts happen so often that people are questioning the mom's parental abilities and if she's doing enough to de-escalate the situation. To which the mom responded by saying that Cash acts the same way at her house as he does at his dad's house. However, the polygraph determined that was a lie because Papa Bear chimed in and said no, Cash doesn't. Cash is much more well-behaved around him. Whenever he does have an outburst or gets hyperfixated, they know how to remedy the situation. They don't turn on the cameras to record him instead of helping, portraying him as a monster on the internet.
What y'all have seen online of Cash, that's not normal. And quite honestly, it shouldn't be on there. His mom says that he acts the same way over here. He has meltdowns. He's autistic. The only difference is we don't videotape and egg him on and do stuff. When he's here, if he starts to get irate, we try to find out what's wrong first. Sometimes it's because he's hungry, sometimes because he's upset and sick. But usually if it's something we can't control, hey man, go to your bedroom. He'll go to his bedroom. I'm not saying things are perfect, but what y'all see online is not typical. And I've had people reach out to me and be like, hey man, is that the same Cash we saw Sunday morning at church? I'd be like, no, it's not. That's when he's with his mother. I've had teachers reach out and be like, hey, there's night and day difference between the way you raise him. I don't want y'all to think that it's easy having an autistic child. But I don't want y'all to look at Cash and think he's a monster either, the way his mother's trying to portray him. I've reached out to her and her husband and asked them to please stop doing it. In a roundabout way, in text messages and from what people have told me, it was, you can't tell me what to do and I'm making money. She has no structures. She has no rules. She's supposed to be on medication. There was a court order when we got divorced that she was supposed to have a mental evaluation. I don't think that ever happened. There's a lot going on. She lets the kids ride around without seatbelts. She doesn't necessarily put their safety first. And right now, I feel my children are being exploited.
When asked about the claims Cash's dad made, the mom asserts that she is a good parent and will not be responding to negativity. Now, I definitely understand why the dad is concerned about the well-being of his children, especially Cash, because why would you let a child that is prone to outbursts that can get quite aggressive, carry around scissors as a security blanket? What do we think about this? Do we think the mom has Cash's best interests at heart, or do we think that she's only seeing green and that dad needs to come get his children?
so much in this video, Tony. First of all, I
one of
want
the things I can say
mama, because I am in agreement. Why are you doing? Why are you putting? I don't even put my son on social media.
I could make a spectacle of my child and make some money off of it.
Exactly.
What would that make me as a dad?
And it's crazy, right? And it's
that
crazy.
Wouldn't better him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's going to offer no improvement to him. He might have fun with it for a little bit,
right?
But in the long run, he will realize, you know, there's big downsides to a lot of that stuff, and a lot of people forget that a lot of that lives forever.
Exactly.
Because all it takes is one other person to screen capture it, and it's not gone.
Exactly.
You know, and that's, you know, that's deep stuff you can do that can mess with your child long term.
Mm-hmm.
And making a mockery or anything about any parts of this, you know, and that's why I like the term spectrum, because how many of these kids can have the same diagnosis, but they're so different. They're just a different piece of that puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as Steve was talking, that was certainly things I don't know if Calvin will be able to ever live on his own.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but he's only 13. We got a lot of years to figure it out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. And I've certainly accepted the fact that he might not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I don't care about everybody else's opinion. I want the best for him. And if that means living under my roof, so be it.
Exactly. I know with this video, okay, so I'm triggered. Let's focus on one part. Well, we're going to break it down a little bit more, but it's this one part in the video. And I find it very interesting because I see this a lot, not even with children with disabilities, but I see this in raising children, period. That kids tend to be one way with mom and one way with dad. You get where I'm going? And
100%.
even like in the video, he was saying how there's no structure there, there's no routine there. You know what I mean? So he has a little bit more structure and discipline at his home when his son is there. And then, you know, mom is, yeah, she just, yeah. So
well, I have to remind my wife of that sometimes, because I see it with Calvin, and we have a pretty good structure system.
Okay.
But anytime that's disrupted, it affects his behavior. And I've called, you know, I hate to be that guy, but that's, you know, I've been with my wife long enough. I'm not afraid to call her out. And she will do that sometimes. And I'll have to point out to her, it's like, no, you broke the structure. That's what caused the issue. Because, you know, Calvin can get very regimented. You know, and we have a lot of signs around the house because that stuff helps. Keep him in, you know, what you got to do. Same as simple stuff like going to the bathroom. You know, you had to put a sign up. Hey, when you're done, you got to flush the toilet.
Right.
It's just little reminders that help, you know, and that stuff has always helped. But some of it's addressing that as a parent and understanding, like, yeah, we got to have some signs up. May not be what you want, but it actually will make your life better.
Yeah, and that's so crazy because I'm going to do a show on visual visual aids too. You know, some, like you said, signs, scheduling. You know, sometimes they need those visual cues to make sure they're following a routine of what they need to do. And even in behavior, you know, a lot of times with our kids, they can't express themselves and tell you exactly what is wrong with them. But I know, like when Mr. Caleb was, you know, when he was like maybe in first, second grade, we had a little chart that had the different emotions on it and stuff like that. And it helped, you know, me understand when he does this and this is, you know, he'll point out to angry, he's sad, you know, or like now it's so funny because, you know, like I say, he likes music. So what he does is when he's feeling sad inside, he goes and he plays this song on YouTube, and it's a violin, and it's playing a sad song. so he's letting me know that he's feeling sad about something.
Well, you know, it's a good thing you bring up, because we've had to do that with Calvin. You know, when he goes nonverbal, the smiley faces, you know, which one are you? You know, you have that stuff, and those cues, you know, it's the same as the signs. They help a lot when they go nonverbal, because you don't have to be verbal with them. You can just, you know, it's right here. We've discussed this. This is what it is. You know, and that's why it's good to have some of those layouts. And that was the comment I was going to make. That's funny is my bedroom and my bathroom are the only two rooms we don't have signs in. Every other room has signs of little reminders.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just, it makes his life better and easier, and our lives better and easier, because it's just the little stuff that you get sick of harping on. You know,
and I was triggered by that video, because I see it so much, and this is why I wanted to talk to the dads, because when I'm doing my sessions with parents, and it's usually the moms, they are like this mom or the mom that we saw before. You know, no type of sense of urgency. You know, very nonchalant, or they're very babying. Like the kid can be 18 and they're still treating him like a baby. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and you know, let me get away with murder. And I try to tell parents all the time, even though your child is autistic, you still have to give them some type of structure, routine, and discipline. If not, you're going to end up like the lady in the first video with the holes and stuff, and everything torn up, and you hit his hand around your neck. So it's very
I feel
it in them.
I feel the structure for them is actually more important than a non-autistic kid. I think the structure is very beneficial and helps them frame the parameters they already live within. You know, and it's that little stuff, you know, like the signs that we were talking about, that help keep you in that reasonable around the house box. You know, you want to scream and yell, go outside.
Right.
But in the house, we have expectations. You know, it's the same with, you know, we went through a phase recently of like, he was just taking food to his room and eating in there, but that it stays in there.
Oh, oh no.
Well, and we have a problem.
Right.
We have 2 labs.
Oh my
So
goodness.
you can't leave food laying up in your room.
Yeah.
And the dogs aren't going to go get to it. You know, and that was just a learning curve, and that's one's been slow, but that also comes to the other thing, because that's a basic human need. You want to eat, you're going to eat.
Yeah.
You know,
now,
but it's
with me, like I said, Caleb is he's in that middle between high functioning and level 2. So he does this whole thing, and I've taught him how to clean up after himself. So he's usually, after he eats or whatever, he'll wash his dishes, wipe everything down, then go back and do his thing. But in order for me to get to that place with him, it was on the wall. You do this, that, and that, and that. And then after a while, it became, you know, just like with anybody, it became habit. So it's like a habit for him now. So he just automatically does it. So
sometimes that's the hardest part, is establishing those routines. You know, and ingraining, like you were saying, as a habit. And like, this is what we do. Okay, we're done eating. Now everything on the table has to get put away.
Exactly. Yeah. Now the only thing with Mr. Kelly, so he does get obsessed, because he has his own cup and he has his own plate and he has his own stuff. And so when he's putting things away, it has to be in that spot. And if you put anything in his spot, he's gonna take the whole row of dishes out and reorganize it, and so his plate can have his spot. I'm just saying,
We have dishes from 20 years ago that are favorites.
So it's like, okay. But yeah, that video triggered me. I see that a lot. I see, especially when the parents are not together, the difference in raising them will vary from household to household. So having seen that, since you both are with your with the moms, do you find the difference in raising or discipline while you both were still in the household?
Oh, I think this is certainly something that can easily destroy and tear apart a marriage because it's hard on everything, and it brings out all these conversations you never had before in your marriage or life.
Okay.
Because now these other behaviors are coming up. And I'll give my wife a lot of credit because her being patient with me with everything I was going through in Calvin is a lot of the reason things have worked, because I've been downright unreasonable at times because, it's back to what you're talking about before. As a dad, when you have a boy, you frame certain things in your mind.
Yeah.
And when those don't come to fruition, it's hard on you.
Yep.
But it's a way that I never want to let that spill to his life. So he doesn't see any of that frustration.
You have to be the buffer.
The buffer, yeah. So speaking of, when it comes to the couples, I did a show last week where we were talking about how to keep the couples, the marriage or relationship together and connected and strong. When it comes to, when you have, you're going through, the different changes and with the diagnosis and getting the child the help that he needs, has there ever been a butting of the heads when it comes to, services, therapy, or what should be done? Or, how did you deal with that? Or was there always a cohesive front? Or has there ever been, I think we should do this and I should do it?
We internally haven't had as much headbutting. We've had more headbutting with the providers and with other people.
Okay.
Because some of the downside is, like, we've had providers come in that are years younger than my wife and me, and they're telling us how to live. And it just goes to that point of, do you still live at home? Like, how do you, at 20 years old, have that wherewithal to tell us we're doing it wrong?
Right.
And there's some of both ends, and we've had we get a fair amount of assistance from our county.
Yeah.
But there's two sides of that story, and there's a lot of times the wrong workers are in place.
I don't know what Steve doing. You need new internet service. Okay, so GP has a question in the chat. He says, question, is this the norm for anyone with autistic child, from how the child is behaving with mom versus the father? Well, okay, I'm thinking it's parenting style, and that's not just with children with autism. That's anybody. It's parenting style. If you can have a parent doing one thing at one home and they can get away with murder, that's why they want to go over there all the time. And then you got
even in the same home, they can find the ways to leverage mom and dad either against each other or other ways. So I think the biggest thing about that is that's why it's so important as parents to be on the same page, because your kids are going to use every avenue.
Exactly. Yes.
There's times I'll hear him downstairs asking her a question. She'll say no. And 5 minutes later, he's up here asking me.
Right.
And I've just learned my response. What did mom say? Because it's never good when I tell him yes, she tells him no, or vice versa.
Exactly.
That always leads to a worse issue.
Right.
And that's what's hard. Because I don't know if he's a boy and that's why he does it more than my daughter, or if it's autism or what it is. But he likes using that any leverage he can get between mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't like. I see the comment there. I do agree. I see that with my daughter a lot too. Um, but I think the thing you see in the autism is they get stuck on.
Yeah, they get fixated on. Yeah.
Yeah, they get fixated on certain things, and no, you said yes, Dad said no. We're not until I get what I want. We're not ending this argument. And it's just like,
Yeah. Like, what's going on? And and I tell when I'm talking to parents and stuff, I tell them all the time. I was like, look, do not think that your little one or your kid is not smart. They know exactly what they're doing, and they know exactly what to do to get what they want. And don't think that they're not going to do it. They are very cunning. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so I have another. There's Steve. Steve, are you back? There you are. Uh-oh. You just put yourself on mute, Steve. Oh, okay. Anyway. Okay. Here's another clip that I found, and I just have 2 more questions, and then I have Steve talked about the song that he wrote, so I do have it, and we're going to take a listen as we end the show. So first, let's look at this video.
Being a mom of a child with a disability is a 24/7 job, and it can take its toll. One study found 50% of moms of children with autism had elevated levels of depression. Now COVID is adding extra stress. A recent Urban Institute report revealed many of the services and programs to help kids with disabilities have been reduced or completely eliminated. A new study shows fathers play an important role in supporting a mother's mental health. Researchers examined a sample of 3,550 children and their parents. They found moms of kids with autism reported fewer symptoms of depression when fathers read regularly with the child as early as 9 months old. Additionally, the scientists say dads may lessen a mother's depression when they engage in consistent, responsive caregiving, such as soothing a child when they're upset. While they might not eliminate a mother's stress entirely, the research shows a father's actions can help relieve a mother's stress. I'm Nancy Alvarez reporting.
So, what do you think about that?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of truth there. And I certainly think I've been on the opposite side of it as far as causing more stress with my health. But I certainly understand how what we do as being proactive dads offers that huge benefit. And this has had a pretty big impact on my wife's health. My wife is 3 weeks older than me. She's 44. She had a heart attack last year.
Oh,
And
wow.
I guarantee that's all tied to this stress.
Yeah.
And some of that goes to what we're doing. It's not always healthy to bottle it all up.
Yes.
You need to find avenues. And everybody, your avenue might be different than mine. But like even something like this, it lets it come out.
And it's crazy because tomorrow's show is about this, being self-care tips, and one of them is finding the outlet. You can't keep it all bottled in, for sure.
No, and it's not always your partner, because sometimes they have the same stress as you do, so you're just adding to their stress level.
Exactly.
It's having that outside person, somebody you can talk to and engage with.
Right.
That's a willing to listen.
Yeah, I agree. Steve, you there?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Okay, leave the camera off and just talk. Maybe that'll be better if you just leave the camera on. Yeah, that's fine.
Is that
You're
better?
good.
Okay.
Yep, I know it's you. I know it's you.
Hello.
So, Steve, so the question is, how do you you and your wife handle any decision making? Have you ever had any issues like she wanted to do one thing and you want to do other, or have you always had like, you know, a cohesive idea, or you always been on one accord about services or anything for your son?
We pretty much been on board for everything. We do think alike about on his decisions, and thank God it'd been a lot harder. I think once in a while we'll hit something, but we'll you know, talk about it and decide what's best. But it hasn't been as many as you would think. Okay. He's because he's, I want to say level 3, I guess is what he's tagged, but it's a lot of common sense and no brain decisions of what's best for him just to make him happy, and is he really going to benefit from this? Aide, who was at his aide at the time, said, "You know what? Maybe he really doesn't want to play," and that really opened my eyes. But like Tony says, you want your kid to be as typical as possible, but at one point you got to break that and then just go on what makes him happy, what makes him tick, and you got to listen to him. But for the most part, yeah, we've been on board with a lot of the decisions, which has been nice. And like I said, she's a teacher. She's seen it all, and I've been in the background. But we both, you know, step up. You know, once in a while she'll poke the bear when something needs to be done, and then I got to go raise some hell with somebody. But other than that, Tony's the one that knows what I'm talking about. But it's been a good decision process up through, which has made it a lot easier.
Good. So I understand, Steve, you said that your son will always be with you. Tony, you haven't even got to that point yet about having your sons go to maybe to a group home or assisted living. I mean, because you know, I did a show earlier this week with a young lady, and we were talking about our sons transitioning to adulthood, and we were discussing, you know, placement, because we're getting older. Not saying we're not going to be here always. What's going to happen if we're not here? What's going to happen if, you know, something happens and he's placed somewhere? But so having said that, what are your thoughts on this as a dad? Watch this video.
That looks like a bar brawl.
Now from the I-Team, tackled and held down. Workers at a group home for people with developmental disabilities caught on camera repeatedly taking down a teen who was living there.
And tonight, his mother is calling for a complete overhaul of the state's Division of Developmental Disabilities.
The I-Team's Bianca Bono joins us with details and a warning. Some of the images are hard to see.
Ronnie. Video showing 17-year-old Matt Brown being pushed into a closet by a staff member in charge of taking care of him. Matt, who was diagnosed with autism when he was 22 months old, had become triggered, getting upset with a staff member. He was taken to his room, where 2 staff members repeatedly push him and lay on top of him. This incident leaving Matt with marks on his face and blood on the walls of his room.
That looks like a bar brawl.
It's also left his mother, Amber, wanting answers.
It's actually horrifying to watch.
Matt needs full-time care, and Amber said a group home should be the best option, but now worries for his safety.
He can't tell you what's happening to him.
Which is why Amber chose to install a camera in Matt's room. And Amber fears for other families who don't have cameras in their group homes. Last week, a young man was hospitalized with a broken jaw in a Mesa group home. Workers said he injured himself, but a doctor's report said the injuries did not appear self-inflicted. The facility had no surveillance cameras.
The incidence of abuse and neglect and exploitation of individuals with disabilities in particular is many times the national average for individuals who do not have disabilities.
John Myers is the executive director of the ARC of Arizona, which advocates for families like Amber's.
Arizona is between 100 million and 150 million underfunded in services for the developmental disabilities population.
While advocates hope the state begins to address that problem, Amber believes cameras are necessary.
The legislature at this point needs to go a step further, and I think they need to say they must, not they may.
And when we ask the state what happened,
I'm going to jail, okay? Look.
See,
I wouldn't be going to jail. They wouldn't find him.
Oh,
They wouldn't find that guy.
okay. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
It's a rough one for me to.
Oh, wait, hold on, Steve. I think Tony was talking. Go ahead, Tony.
I used to teach classes for these people, and nothing against them, but for community-based residential facilities like group homes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a lot of those workers, and I would have a really hard time because Kevin's issues are going to trigger other people, and he's going to want to fight with them. And if they don't know the right ways to deal with them, it's going to lead to physical violence.
Mm-hmm.
And that won't be good for anyone.
Right.
You know, it's there. He needs to be handled with specialized care. And if you're not sure the right way to do it, you'll probably upset him and he might start swinging.
Exactly.
You know, and these aren't like Tyson punches, but they're just wild, uncontrolled flail.
Mm-hmm.
And one catches you the wrong way, you're not going to like it. He's not a small kid.
Exactly. Yeah. What do you think, Steve, about the video?
I think it's terrible. Every dad's nightmare. My son's nonverbal. He couldn't tell me anything that would happen like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they would never find the guy in my book, and I wouldn't get in trouble. To be honest,
I'm burning the whole building down.
I just need one guy. Yeah, no, that would. Thank God this never happened with our kid, because I would be in prison probably. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was. That's a dad thing that it's out of our hands, but and it does happen, unfortunately.
Yes.
And yeah, that right there just ruined my day, but I'll be okay. But
I'm sorry.
That's some tough shit.
I didn't mean to trigger you.
You're fine. No, I wear my heart on my sleeve, so yeah, it's a tough thing.
I mean, but it's realistic though, because our kids are not going to be in our presence 24 hours of the day.
Right.
At some point in our lives, they're not going to be in our presence. And just like me and Tony was talking about earlier, a lot of people do not have patience, and they just don't understand differences and uniqueness in other people. And so, you know, people, especially these young people, they are so triggered. Lord have mercy. You know, they're so quick to, you know, do the extreme to others. So it's something not only in a group home setting, but, you know, just sending, you know, your kid to the playground. I mean, it's so much you have to worry about.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
you know, me as a mom, I can only imagine what you dads are feeling.
Yeah, our son does go to Dayhab in a program, and there's an adult setting. It took us. That was a hard point when he was 21. He aged out of school, and we had to do something because we both work. Unfortunately, that's another demon. But anyway, we interviewed a lot, and
There's a Wi-Fi. We're gonna have to get you to the city.
he hangs out with
Steve, you there?
the guy, but that's always in the back of my mind. You ever want to get news like that, and I don't know if I could handle it. To be honest with you, I'd have to really think about it, because there'd be some major stuff going on.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the truth.
So I have one last video and one last question, and then we're going to end the show. And I've truly enjoyed this conversation, guys. I mean, yeah. And yeah. So here's the last video, and then we're going to ask the last question.
Chris is in 11th grade and pretty much on his own in high school. He has a mentor that helps him. No biting, Chris. All right, Chrissy, go to mom. Let him walk off if you don't mind. Yeah. Go to mom and I'll be off in a minute. Go to mom. Chris probably had one of the worst diagnoses ever. Self-injurious, swollen intestines, poisons in his systems, neurological damage, mental retardation, severe autism, almost the Crohn's disease. Chris did not communicate, he didn't sit down, he didn't put on clothes, he wouldn't go outside. He ate the walls, he ate the table, he ate the rug. We couldn't eat in the home, we couldn't have lights on, we couldn't have the TV on. If I coughed, he would run downstairs and punch me. It was a 24-hour day job. Chris never slept, he never ate, he wore diapers, never spoke. And I was pretty much told to put him in an institution. It was obviously depressing, but so we went on this battle, you know, to educate and to provide therapies. His mom went and studied everything she could get her hands on. She visited hospitals and schools and Johns Hopkins and Kennedy Krieger and Rutgers. And she set up a school in our home. Our home became a school. It was one of the first centers of ABA, which is Applied Behavioral Analysis. We set up intern programs with kids from Penn State and Franklin and Marshall, and we began teaching Chris. I thought to myself, if he's happy, if he stops hurting himself, you know, if I could hug him, that would be the greatest gift in life. And we continued against all odds, and he got better. I was telling him that you go to Elizabethtown. Where do you go? Elizabethtown, you tell. Elizabethtown High School. Elizabethtown High School. And we're very proud of that, right? And we collect a lot of movies. We buy movies. Yeah, so I'm gonna just talk about you a little bit because I love you. Can I have a kiss? The thing I've learned most over the years is to be a parent first. It changed my life completely, put me in another direction. I was able to love unconditionally. And I never thought of him as this poor, broken human being that we need to cure. You know, he's not sick. You're trying to get me to go?
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a great dad right there.
Mm-hmm.
I walked in, I get to kiss the forehead. I don't get the lips. Mom and grandmas get the lips. when he wants something, he'll come over and put his forehead down. Come on, let Dad. No, it's a guy thing. Daddy's to kiss the forehead. That's it. Mm-hmm. And we did a lot of the trying. You're going to try everything. I call them the acronym list. The whole bunch of all the type of therapies, everything. It just sometimes it doesn't work. You know, you might get something GFCF diet, casein diet. Because you got to try everything, but you can't repair a chromosome. I mean, there's gene therapy now and other things like that, but I don't know if I'm to the point. I don't want to risk damage. He's happy. He's loving. He likes to hug, like he said, and I'm happy with that. I wish things could be different, but at the same time,
Let's see if he pops back up while it's gonna pop back up. Yep, there you go. Steve, you there? Okay. Any words, Tony, about the video?
Well,
I know you got kind of emotional. I'm sorry, I triggered everybody today. Go ahead, Tony.
Well, I was just gonna, a lot of what Steve was saying, is very realistic. It changes your whole perspective on everything because you want them to grow into what they can be, if that makes sense. Because you don't know what that's going to be, especially, I'm in the developmental years still, and it's a struggle sometimes and it's frustrating and you want to do the best for them. And as a parent, it's very hard, and that's what I see with my wife sometimes because you want to do more, but there's only so much there you're able to do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, wow, that was deep. So I got kind of lost of where I wanted to go. Okay. So
Is he back?
yeah, I think so. He keeps popping back down.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you now.
Tony, I missed everything you said. The damn freaking computers, I tell you.
That's
Put a man at
okay.
home, but we can't connect a freaking computer in the back room of a house.
So Steve, right now I'm going to play your song. So everyone in the chat, I will put the link to the YouTube video of his song. I'm also going to put it on the screen. Steve has written a song for his son, and we're going to take a listen to it.
Hey, Tony.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes, Steve?
Y'all ready? Here we go.
Yep.
Times have flown on by and you have grown. For all you do, I am so proud. Still waiting for you to talk aloud. Sometimes you like to share a word. I know you're in there and want to be heard. And in my dreams I hear your voice. We talk all night and I rejoice with everything that you've been through. I always wish I were as strong as you. Oh, I've never seen you shed a tear as you've taken on a life without fear. I really know how hard you try. Sometimes it hurts, I wanna cry. Seem to make me smile, and it takes my pain away for a while. With everything that you've been through, I always wish I were as strong as you. Oh, I've never seen you shed a tear as you've taken on a life without fear. Things you love are your brother's eyes, and of course chicken nuggets and French fries. I realize that you may never change, just the same. To others who know not what to say, it's what we live with every day. A special one locked up inside keeps me going with every stride. Although some days I get twisted and curled,
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. That was yeah. So that was a song that was written by Steve. He's somewhere in the clouds right now. I don't know where. But I want to thank him for submitting the song. If you want to go, it's on YouTube and it's called Reality Check by Early January. If you want to go and check out the song that he has, and it's right, yeah. And I found it so cute when he said about the chicken nuggets and fries. I was like we know about the chicken nuggets and fries. There he is. Hey, Steve.
Holy.
Yeah. We were just saying, we finished listening to the song, and I was just saying I really enjoyed the song, and I had a little laugh moment when you was talking about the chicken nuggets and fries. Like we all know about that part.
That had to go in. I was hesitant on putting it in, and Peter said, "No, that's perfect." And I said, "All right, throw it in there." And that's
that was a good one.
That's us. You know what's funny is whenever Rico listens to it, he likes Led Zeppelin and he likes acoustic guitars. So whenever he hears that line, he goes to the freezer and pulls the French fries out. So
yeah,
it's a bonus.
So I know that we are made it to our 2-hour mark. I want to close out the show, and I want to give an opportunity for both you guys to have a moment to say whatever it is you need to say, any words of encouragement, any advice, anything that you're feeling. I know I kind of triggered y'all a little bit with the videos and stuff, but I felt like it was some things that we really, really need to talk about, especially we got boys.
Yeah.
You know, it's different with the boys. Girls have their own set of issues, and our boys have their own set of issues. And then in my case, I have a 6'3", 300-pound Black boy.
That's a big boy.
Yeah. So so we all have our own set of. So I really want to address some of those things that we were reviewing, and I truly, truly thank both of you guys for coming on and talking with me. This was a really eye opener, and the chat has been going back and forth on Facebook, YouTube, and all the channels that we're on right now. So they've been enjoying as well. So I'm going to give Steve. I'm going to give you the floor, and you can say your last words, any words of encouragement, anything you want the public to know about your son and his autism journey.
Well, I don't know if this is going to even record, but I'll try it anyway. What we've just found over the years that he doesn't have to be like every other kid, and anything that we come up with works. Stay with it. Eliminate the triggers. Love the crap out of him. Spoil the crap out of him. His brothers know that he's number one, no matter what, and they take care of him. And they were also, I couldn't tell you, but they have been made proxies, healthcare proxies. We're getting older, and they both will be taking their brother in over time when it's time, and that's part of the deal. Part of being a family. But they're great for them, and grandparents are great. Our community is awesome. If you get all that working, that's what it's all about. Just keep them happy and love the crap out of them. That's all I got.
Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I gotta get a soundboard. All right, Tony, thank you for coming. And what are your last words? You on mute? Oh, there you
Hello?
Go. Okay, there you go.
No, it just, Steve's very right. You have to love them and give them everything. And, sometimes if they have siblings, they'll struggle with it being unfair, but they will learn as they get older. You have to give them the victories. They need to get victories to feel they're doing things right and to keep going and keep advancing. And that structure, the structure is so huge and allows them to succeed, but sometimes you have to help with the framing of the structure so they can stay with it and understand it. And the biggest thing I'll put forward to everybody is just keep trying to move forward. Some days it feels like you're not getting far, but just you start stacking the days on each end, and you will make progress. But just keep trudging forward. It's a battle. It's a daily struggle, but the victories are worth every second.
Y'all got me all emotional. I mean, you know, I'm a girl. Yeah, this was really good. And again, thank you guys for joining me on the panel. It was kind of an eye opener, and I hope that as long as people come in later and watch the video, they really get some understanding and learn something from this, and to know that it's a united front. It's not just the moms out here that are fighting for our kids. The dads are there too. You know, the silent person in the back, because usually it's the moms are out in the front, rah rah rah, you know. And but there are some dads that are on the front line for their children, and I don't want that misconception floating around thinking that it's all about the autism mom and not the autism dad. Dads have no place. Dads don't do nothing. You know, all they do is supply the money. You know that narrative that's out there. And I truly thank you guys for actually coming in and talking to me and enduring my torture with my videos.
Thank you for the time.
Oh, I mean, you know, well, if watch my shows, like people that come to my shows all the time know I be on the dark side of the internet, and so I find all kinds of videos, so I'm always triggered.
I searched you a little bit after I agreed to it. I go, what the hell did I get myself into here?
I mean,
we're like,
I have a little saying, you know, when I'm about to show something very triggering, I'll tell them I saw something. I'll be like, I saw something. They'll be like, oh Lord,
here it comes. Yeah.
It'll be something crazy. So you got a little taste of that. So again, I want to thank you guys, and I'm just going to play the outro. You guys can drop down if you want, but again, thank you. I will be emailing you in a little bit also. Okay, guys, thank you so much, and thank you everybody that tuned in on Facebook, RedLipstickVibes Facebook, ACCP Facebook page, ACCP YouTube page, RedLipstickVibes YouTube page, everybody everywhere. Thank you guys for tuning in, and make sure you hit the like button if you haven't subscribed to the channel. And tomorrow we will be talking about self-care. You can't pour from an empty cup. So that's going to be very important for parents. Then you know that you have to take care of yourself in order for you to take care of your kid. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. So I hope you guys will tune in. And so I'm going to say bye, everybody.
Bye. I wasn't here the whole time, but thank you very much.
You did good, Steve. Nice, you did good.
Get him out of here. Yeah. All right. See you guys later. Thank you very much.
Bye.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't come from my cloth, they tugging it. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. They ain't come from my cloth, they tugging it. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Yeah, who don't play, 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 play. 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 Who don't? Long time coming, not gonna battle my mouth from running. Cataracts under my eyes from hustling, going from buying to selling to customers. Run up the business, God is my witness. Turn up the sun up from Monday to Sunday. We matching the limits. My man running like Tom Cruise on an action movie. Moving the mission, they say that I'm tripping. I've been told I need a vacation. I'm finessing the visit. First class, my feet up high in the air on business. Yeah. Cover the city, your city ain't working. It's all for nothing. She told me don't let up. It's on us to make it. It's on us to crush it. Niggas gon' take some just to make some. So put that in your budget. Yeah. Can't keep moving your dreams with you when you ain't even buzzing. What got you bugging? Make you a play, don't be scared of religion. You made it from nothing, then figure out your clutching. Everything you want in front of you, ain't no discussion. Look, it's been a long time coming. They ain't cuffing my cloth, they tugging. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. They ain't cuffing my cloth, they tugging. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Yeah, who don't play, 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 play. Who don't play, 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 play. my nuggets gold, platinum chain, call him Johnny Dang, dog, with my brains. I go off like hurricanes until my diamonds look like rain. My verses, gas, I'm on it, spaz. The business, cash, no money, cash. Kenny said I need a verse, I said give me like 30, I did it in 15 for real. I've been on fire, they want me to chill. I've been on fire, they want me to. Look, it's been a long time coming. They ain't cuffing my cloth, they tugging. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I'm still kept at 100. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. They ain't cuffing my cloth, they tugging. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I'm still kept at 100. Yeah, who don't play, 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 play. 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 Who don't, yeah. It's been a long time coming. They ain't cuffing my cloth, they tugging it. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. They ain't cuffing my cloth, they tugging it. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Yeah, who don't play, 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 play. 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 Who don't? Long time coming, black on the bottom of my feet from running. Cataracts under my eyes from hustling. Going from buying and selling to customers. Run up the business, God is my witness. Sun up to sun up from Monday to Sunday. We maxing our limits. My mind running like Tom Cruise on an action movie. Moving a mission, they say that I'm tripping. I've been told I need a vacation. I'm finessing a visit. First class, my feet up high in the air on business. Yeah. Travel the city, your city ain't working. It's all for nothing. She told me don't let up. It's on us to make it. It's on us to crush it. Now it's gonna take some just to make some. So put that in your budget. Can't keep moving your dreams for cheap when you ain't even budging. What got you bugging? Make you a play, don't be scared, I'm religion. You made it from nothing, then figure out your clutching. Everything you want in front of you, ain't no discussion. Look, it's been a long time coming. They ain't cuffing my cloth, they tugging. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. They ain't cuffing my cloth, they tugging. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Yeah, who don't play, play, play.